Dear Lord, we thank you for this day we've had. Thank you for this time that we can come together to fill our positions and serve citizens of this county. We pray that as we do come together that we make decisions based around your word to the best of our ability. Pray that you'll bless each person here and each family that's represented. Continue to go with us and keep us safe. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. Entertain a motion. Motion by Tommy, second by Darren. All in favor? Any opposed? Next, we have approved payment of bills. Entertain a motion. Motion by Neil.
Yeah.
Second by Damon. All in favor? Any opposed? Next, we have approved treasurer's budget transfers as presented. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion by Darren, second by Tommy. All in favor? Any opposed? Next, I have approved jailer's payment of bills. Entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Neil,
Second.
second by Brian. All in favor? Next, we have accept sheriff's 2018 excess funds. That total is $60,352.92. Norman, do you want to speak on that?
Yes, I don't know, the excess funds is kind of misleading. That's $60,350.92 of funds that we could not use in 2019. We're still well under our budget. As a matter of fact, $100,000.
Couldn't use it in 2018, right?
Yes, 2018. Any money that we have after December 31st of that year, we cannot use, according to the way it's set up for our office, we cannot use on January the 1st. So we don't know how much money we're going to have in December until we do final billing and until we get all the payments in. So if we get a payment in January the 2nd or January the 3rd for, let's say a mortgage company pays their clients property taxes at maybe $500,000, we get commissions from that, but we cannot use it to pay bills in 2019, if that makes sense. So it says excess fees. It is excess fees from 2018 as far as the auditors are concerned. As far as our budget is concerned, it's still well under our budget, and I would ask that that money be given back to the sheriff's office like we did last year. So we can use those to continue to pay our salaries and to pay the deputies working for equipment as well. So, and even with that, like I said, it's a budget that was approved. It's well under our budget.
Any questions from anybody? All right, first, I need a motion to go ahead and accept the sheriff's 2018 excess funds. I need a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Neil. All in favor? Any opposed? Next motion will be to return the excess funds back to the Grayson County Sheriff's Office. Motion by Tommy, second by Darren. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Next thing we have is open the sealed bids for the 2 dump trucks that we recently bid out. Thank you. Open the floor. Okay, first bid we've got is from Palmer Trucks from Kenworth in Louisville. And it's a T88. Of course, all these are going to be different models, are going to be different, I'm sure, but it's a T880 series conventional truck. Anybody here from Palmer Trucks?
Yes, sir, it's on the,
Just don't have a price on it.
it's on the cover there, inside the envelope.
There we go.
Fair enough. This bid here is a proposal for T800 Kenworth setup, with TEPCO bed, cost to be 100, and you need to put this down too, Charlie. 131,375, 131,375 for one truck, correct?
Yes, sir.
We will have to be over them all. This bid here is from UHL Truck Sales. Jeff, when we sent this out, that you gave them the specifications of what they needed to bid, correct?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, it's gonna take a little bit, guys. These things are pretty lengthy, so I don't wanna look over. This bid is for an international truck, $122,900.36. This is from Rush Truck Centers, Peterbilt dealer, for a total of $137,748.
Who's that from?
Rush Truck Centers, Peterbilt's in Bowling Green. Next one. Next one, we have Tri-State International Truck Sales of Bowling Green. Total price for a 2020 International is $107,700. And there's two separate bids. One of them, this one is for a HV 613, and the other one is a HX 620. And the HV 613 is $107,700, and the HX 620 is $118,400. This one here is from Western Star Freightliner in Lexington. Appears that their price is $121,400. That is all. Is anyone here representing these companies? Who you with?
You'll, Grayson.
Yule? Y'all have any questions for
Are you gonna review the spec, or you just gonna?
Well, the specs were sent out.
Right.
So they're all the same GVW ratings, they're all the
But
same?
one company sent you 2 quotes for 2 different trucks.
Right, you're all welcome to look at them.
No, I'm just saying, are you
Well,
gonna,
the G was the weight rating on those two trucks, and I don't remember that two bids was the first one.
actually, they were cheaper either way.
Yeah, it was.
Which one's that, are you looking
The
for?
one that had the two, that sent you the two.
Okay, that's the.
But even if you went with a more expensive of those 2, it was still a low bid.
What was the first bid for what?
Now, if you all got a question about all this, that's why I had Jeff come up here, because you just soon asked me how to build a space shuttle. So,
Yeah, I know a lot of this legwork was done in the previous management.
yeah.
And I guess that's kind of where we're at. We're not really, the specs and everything, we don't know exactly what they are. Did Jeff
No,
go
we
over-
put the specs.
We put the specs in there for
Yes.
us.
Yeah, we did.
And,
Jeff actually gave them to us.
Jeff, what are you all obviously been in a lot of thought on this, and what are you wanting, really? I mean, we need somebody that's gonna service these, that's gonna be here to service them, and we want quality. I think.
This tri-state, this 107,000 bid, I ain't for sure what that truck, it's a little different than the HX 620. She priced us the HX 620.
The HV was what we brought in, so the smaller cab.
The HV has got a real small cab.
Some of these companies has brought the trucks down and demonstrated them for them, so everything that they have bid is stuff that they have seen, or it was on the bid sheet.
so Jeff, you saying that, the Yule truck and this other 620 are the same truck?
Yes.
Exactly?
And the cabs are small.
The HX 620 is comparable to the Kenworth 880 and the Peterbilt. I ain't for sure exactly, it's
There's the numbers
569.
on here, Darren, the model.
Okay, are they Cummins engines?
All of them got the 15-liter Cummins.
Okay. Are they automatics, or are they, excuse me?
8 double A.
Okay, well, okay, that's a good transmission.
54,320 on the gross vehicle weight.
What's the spec on it?
What about the warranties? Are they all similar, or are they?
Well, some of them's got an extended warranty on them.
Is that counted in, or is that?
Yes, that's counted in some. It wasn't bid that way, but some of them had actually had it in there. You want to tell us what you got in there? Since you're here, tell us.
We have an extended warranty on the engine and aftermarket, or the after treatment system on the truck. And that's for, 100 or 150,000, I don't remember exactly, or 2 years, whichever comes first.
Sir, who you with?
On the, motor after treatment, we got 2-year, 250.
Who you with now?
Palmer Kenworth, we're out of Bowling Green, out of Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
Motor is 2-year, 250, drivetrain is 1-year, 100,000. They've all got the, Cummins X450 on, those 8 double Ls. They've been in 14 years.
Any questions?
Have you got a truck that you're specifically wanting, that you all really looked at, that you drivers that you all test drove them? I mean, have you got one that you're wanting to recommend to us, Jeff, Steve, or?
We've looked at every one of these trucks, and, I mean, they're pricing apples to apples on the trucks, and any one of these would be a good truck for us.
So Jeff, what you're saying, the $107,000 one is good as the?
No.
That's, you
No.
don't want that.
No.
The $118,000 one that they quoted with the 107, that's the one you're,
The HX 620,
yeah.
I don't know if his warranty package is as good.
That's the $118,000.
Right.
Does he say anything about his warranty package on it? Is it comparable to the Yule warranty? Or
Did you have more of a warranty, did you say, back there?
Yes, ours is 2 year, 250. That's standard.
And that's the Kenworth, right?
Yes.
What was the Kenworth?
Where are you located at?
Bowling Green, we're right there on.
Okay, so Bowling Green, and we've got an international Bowling Green, we've got a Kenworth from Bowling Green, right?
Yes.
That's
closer.
His is the 130.
Right.
And they're all pretty well bid the same way, whatever the specs. It was in the paper, if y'all want to look over what the specs were.
would we be safe to say, Jeff, that, we'll run out of warranty on time before we ever do on mileage in the county? I'd say it's not something we drive a whole lot every single day, all day is.
Probably these trucks at the max would have 15,000 a year, probably more like 10.
So on warranty, we're looking at time-wise, probably our best thing to look at on warranty. How long? Thank you.
And the way I wanted to set these up is on, of course, we'll go over financing here in a minute, we gotta make a decision on the trucks, but, to set them up on 7 years, and probably get rid of them after 8 or 9, and just keep rotating them out, because, so I had Jeff here too, Jeff, Steve, and Kenny. Some of you probably know, we've dealt with a lot of, I guess, let me put it, as Jason would say, just being honest with you, we've had a lot of junk. And we're trying to build the road department back up where it needs to be, where these guys are driving safe equipment, and they've, snow plows, everything's in good shape, the backhoes. I mean, that's pretty well what, about all we needed, Jeff. I mean, Steve, the dump trucks have been a struggle.
Yeah.
How much you think we spend a month, Jeff, in maintenance?
It's worse time to time. but-
Like a couple months ago, it was about $15,000.
Oh, that's too much. That's way too much.
So
So,
that's on one truck.
yeah,
What
yeah.
about the beds on these trucks? Are they the same brand?
Steel beds?
Yes.
Same thing,
Same
same gauge,
company. They
same?
wanted the same bid, so they all bid it with the same bid.
Okay. Roll carbs?
Yeah, it's a Tibco bid out of Richmond, Kentucky, and every dealer calls them, and we've got the bid we want. It will work best with our chipping and sealing.
Okay.
But that's what mainly it'll be used for chipping and sealing all rock.
And that's what we've done. We got with all the guys that drove the trucks. I mean, this has been going on for, what, 3 months now, 4 months? We got with them, had them come and show the trucks, and that way they could make their own decision, because I don't drive a dump truck. I mean, they do. So that's why I had them make the decision on what kind of bed they wanted, what worked best for them, and that type of thing. So that's what they, but we wanted to make sure it was fair between all the players, the Kenworth, the Peterbilt, Freightliner, International, make sure it was fair. Everybody bid the equivalent to what we wanted.
Well, I think if Jeff feels it's the same, pretty much the same, apples to apples, and, other than 107, he wasn't happy with, looks to me like the 118 or the 123, that's probably the two we're gonna be looking at if there's any warranty difference or something like that, to justify the 5,000 difference, I would say.
Yeah, the Kenworth is 131. You got them wrote down there where they are?
I think the Kenworth's on
Those
there.
two trucks have
There was another international that was 122 different companies.
I mean,
Would you all like any information on the T-880, what kind of sets it apart from the other truck?
If you want to tell them,
if you wanna step up here,
Sure.
step up here, we can hear you if you don't mind.
Well, I've been with Honor Kenworth since July. I was 25 years old, the road, I got nearly 3 million miles in. I've owned some trucks, ran a couple of different companies. What I like about the T-880 is it's a 5-piece, 2-piece work bumper. If you damage the side of the fender, you replace that piece of fender. I know International probably got kind of the same setups for them, and that's the advantage of a work truck of it. The 2.1 meter cab gives you more room inside, and International, they've all pretty well got the same things, and it's comfort for the drivers. When you get them, if you're gonna sit there all day and you have the hydraulic over air clutches, it's not what everybody's used to pushing the clutch down. You can stand on the outside, push the clutch down with 2 fingers. It's not like the old trucks used to be. But the Kenworth, the advantage to it is the wiring system, I think, is a lot. They're color coordinated, where most companies, you have a wiring diagram, and that's what you go by. The Kenworth 880 set up, when you get the wiring diagram, it's all by the color. So if you go to work on one specific light, you go to that color and there's your light. That's the advantage to it. Kenworth always is going to have a higher bid price. On the back side is where you gain your value off of that. When you go to trade the truck in, it's going to be worth more on the back side. That's the nuts and bolts of it. Right.
all right, thank you. Any more questions for anybody?
He made a good point about, I personally have owned several internationals.
Yeah.
Had a lot of wiring issues with them. A lot of I haven't bought any of the real new late model. I personally think that Kenworth is a for truck for severe duty, for industrial use like a dump truck myself. But, you know, it's just what,
Another thing you need to look at is the resale value in the next.
can't hear you, Steve.
The next thing that you need to look at is resale value in the next 8 years,
Yeah.
Because we want these things on a rotation, so.
And the Kenworth will bring more than the international will when you go to resell it, I think. I mean, you can look at auctions, different things. It's just my opinion. I mean, they cost a little more, but I think you get more for the buck.
Jeff, we've looked at a bunch of trucks. What's like a 7-year-old, 8-year-old Kenworth versus International bring?
I couldn't tell you the exact figures.
50,000?
I couldn't tell you.
I mean, if y'all looked at them before, you probably pretty well know what they would be, so.
What does Jeff now prefer international Kenworth?
I don't,
That's right.
it would be up to them, and I don't think they prefer one way or another, from talking
Right
with.
now, they're using GMC stake trucks
Yeah.
that the state has wore out. And we're
I got
just,
one of them at my shop, as a matter of fact.
and I mean, we're getting by, with better, you know, and we're spending a lot of maintenance cost, and
That's way too much maintenance.
all of these trucks are no doubt good trucks, but in 8 years, if one maybe bring more, that we need to look at that. You know, to get more of our money back, or
Steve's gonna say something.
Steve, go ahead.
we got a resale value on this.
What we're selling right now, annual, of course, it's not got the technical bid on a different price. And you're going to get a good truck no matter which way you go. I mean, that's just the long and short of it. But we've got a 16 model T880. It's got a MX-13 in it, which is a Packard 7 tons, and it's priced at $129,500. It's a 16 model with 178,000 miles on it. Now, International does the same thing. They have that model truck, supposed to the price is much different than the FUT figured onto it. But, you know, you're looking at a good resale. I mean, because I don't price that nobody. I mean, you're going to get a good truck no matter what you buy. And it's just your personal preference, what you like. The back end money, of course, I'm a Kenworth guy, that to me, that is worth the difference in the trucks. But you're going to be good no matter where you go. I can't knock anybody for that.
Does both you places have service on call, like if we're needing help when it's 10 degrees in the wintertime on a Saturday night, is somebody available to, because
We offer a road service truck now that's set up and actually come out to your location, take the day of the week that you believe you're on, and we'll come do your services for you. And if you're toward the Bowling Green area, March 9th, we go, second shift at midnight, half day Saturday, sometime this summer, we're gonna be 24/7.
We have the same, we have a service truck, I'm actually local, I have my CDL, so I can drive back and forth, the tax truck is, down. I can drive it back, we can service it up there, I can bring it back to you guys.
And I apologize, what's your name?
Leslie Elmore.
Leslie, yes, I couldn't, yeah, Leslie lives in the county, so. Go ahead, Kenny.
Ken, is this something that we can, as far as us here, is this something that we can discuss?
This is what I'm getting ready to do. I'm getting ready to hand you this international bid, and I'm gonna hand you the Kenworth bid, and let you all look at it, because I'm telling you, I don't know what I'm looking at when it comes to gross vehicle weights and all this kind of stuff. I'm gonna let you all go over it. We're gonna continue to move on with the meeting, and then we'll come back to it. Is that be good? Y'all good? Okay. Jeff, would you come get these? You're spending this much money, you wanna make sure you,
they wanna go back there.
so if y'all wanna go back there and bring them, you have to go right around the corner. All right, we're gonna move on. Next, Wayne.
Judge, thank you for giving us time to see the matches. I'm Wayne Merriweather, CEO of Clement Regional Medical Center, and Trevor Ray is the president of our hospital board. We're here to talk to you tonight, educate you a little bit, give you some information on the hazards of secondhand smoke, and talk about the possibility of a Grayson County smoke-free ordinance. First of all, I just want to share some information with you. I don't think it's news to anybody that Kentucky leads the country in the number of lung cancer cases. What you may not realize, though, is that 900 Kentuckians die every year from exposure to secondhand smoke. Another interesting fact is that secondhand smoke is the third leading cause of preventable deaths in the United States. So, what would a smoke-free ordinance look like? Well, it would protect people from exposure to secondhand smoke in public buildings and workplaces. And why is that necessary? Why is a smoke-free ordinance necessary? Well, we know it's a health issue. I just shared a little bit about that with you. But also, as a hospital, we're required every 3 years to conduct what's called Community Health Needs Assessment Survey. And every time we do that, smoking comes up as one of the main health issues in our county. Secondly, the majority of people support a smoke-free ordinance. We went a step further and conducted a survey on smoking. And I just want to read you one of the questions, and I'm going to provide you all with this packet of information so you have it and study. But this one question I want to point out: would you support a smoke-free Grayson County ordinance so that all people can breathe clean air inside public places such as restaurants, public buildings, and businesses? Smoking in outdoor areas and private residences will not be affected. 82% of the respondents to that survey said yes. 18% said no. And then we know laws like this work. I was reading an article just a couple weeks ago that said over the last 25 years, the number of lung cancer cases has been in decline. Not necessarily in Kentucky, because we have such a high rate of smoking, but because of laws like this and people educating themselves on the hazards of smoking and exposure to secondhand smoke, we've seen that decline. Trevor, you want to share some information?
Yep, appreciate the opportunity tonight. As Wayne mentioned with the community health needs assessment, we call it a CHINA at the hospital. It's a whole lot easier to say, so we just make an acronym out of it, Community Health Needs Assessment, CHINA. As we look at that, one of the things that we do in healthcare nowadays is the government encourages us, and it's been this trend for probably the better part of a decade or more, to look at what are the population health needs. What do we need to do to make our population healthy? And that sounds a little counterintuitive, because if we can get everybody healthy, they won't need a hospital, will they? But that's the goal, is to see how healthy we can get the population of the county residents and the surrounding counties that we serve. So that's part of the impetus behind looking at what serves the community. When we look at smoking statistics, I want to give you just a little bit of information here, and I want to step back away and let Wayne carry on. But we can look at now some information that comes out of Europe and even some places out west that have already done public smoking cessation bans. And we've got enough data now for the last 10 to 15 years that we can actually see what type of impact it's had on their community health. If we look at places like Scotland and Ireland and in the UK, we see that some of these bans went into effect as early as 2006. And what they now see, different studies will bear out different things, but you can see as much as a quarter reduction, a 25% reduction in some cases, of the number of people that are admitted to hospitals with heart attacks, or with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or lung disease. So we see a large decrease in the number of people that suffer life-changing health events just because of the public smoking ban. Now, in some cases, we actually see that effect is much more rapid. In a few cases, even in Arizona, we see that within just a few months, they see a reduction in hospitalization rates due to those type of events. So we can kind of look forward in time and say, what if it is 1 out of 4 people in our communities that does not suffer a heart attack because we do this? To look in 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, or 20 years down the road. What if it's 1 in 4 of my family members that doesn't suffer cancer, or 1 in 4 of your family members that doesn't develop lung disease because we do this? So there's those benefits that we now have enough data and enough time to see that there is this huge increase in population health, and it gets better as we get farther into these bans. Now, one other thing I'll mention, Wayne told you I'm serve as chairman and president of the board of directors, but I'm also a business owner. So I understand what constituents will probably say as they consider something like this, and we think about this moving forward. I really don't like somebody else telling me what I can and can't do in my business. And I've taken those calls and I've had those discussions with some leaders because we have businesses that serve in Grayson County, Edmonson County, Henderson, and different areas. And we try to look at it as a balance. Yeah, we don't like increased regulation. Yeah, we don't like increased taxes. Yeah, we don't like anybody coming in and telling us we're going to do this or do that. And I mention taxes not because there's a tax associated with this, but just because I understand what business owners feel like when they say somebody's going to come in and impose upon me and tell me what to do. But we also understand what the benefits are. Everybody's got the right to make the choices they want to, but we also understand that we don't have the right to impose our choices on somebody else in a public space. So when we start to balance those things out, we can really see that it's really not an imposition. The areas of the United States we've seen that have done this have been able to make this transition well, but the real benefit is in the health of the community and the health of all those patients that are served. So I'm going to leave this information with Judge Henderson tonight. This comes straight from the CDC. I just pulled some statistics off there and some of the meta-studies they've done, meta-studies where they're taking a large number of studies and correlating that data. And what they found is a causal relationship. Now, if we think about a correlation or a coincidence, we can say, well, when the sun shines bright, I sunburn. There's a causal relationship there. It's not just a coincidence. If I'm outside with that sunscreen on, I'm going to sunburn. And in this case, we have enough data now to see that there's a direct causal relationship. When we don't smoke in public, the health of the population gets better, and the rates of hospitalization, heart attack, and lung disease go down. So it's a direct causal relationship.
Let me just give you a little bit of history. In January 2016, we came forward this fiscal court and requested the same thing. There was a motion made, it died for lack of a second. So at that point, we went to the city of Litchfield, Litchfield City Council, and presented the same information, the same request. And later, late summer, early fall, the city of Litchfield, as you know, passed the smoke-free ordinance. Then later that year, went to City Clarkson and asked their city commission to do the same thing. And in early 2017, they passed a smoke-free ordinance as well. And then went on to Caneyville, asked the same thing. And then early 2018, they passed a smoke-free ordinance as well. So what we're asking tonight is to consider a Grayson County smoke-free ordinance that will give those protections to all of our Grayson County residents, not just those in the city of Litchfield, Parks, and Caneyville. I think everyone deserves that same protection against exposure to secondhand smoke. What I want to do tonight is just give you information that you can take and study and read. My name and number is on there. You can contact me, you can call me, you can email me if you have questions. What I'd like to do is come back in a month, Trevor and I, and answer any questions you have, and at that time request that you see fit to move forward with the countywide ordinance. So I'll need to share this with you. This is what you got for the judge.
Well, he passes those out. I might just encourage you, talk with your constituents, talk with business owners in the county and get their feelings and see what they think and get some of those ideas back and forth, because I think the more that we become educated on this particular issue, the easier it is for all of us to kind of get on the same page and figure out how to move forward.
Sure appreciate you coming out.
Y'all have any questions or anything for Wayne or Trevor?
How many businesses is this gonna affect? I mean, we can't do a true study without knowing how many people are affected.
Whichever business is in the county that allows smoke.
You don't get a clue how many that is whatsoever?
Think about convenience stores and restaurants and some other businesses.
It's just like Ralph's Market. I knew Ralph's, they used to allow smoking down there, and of course they had a fire. Not because of smoking.
That's a correlation, I'm
They had a fire, and Ralph didn't allow it anymore, so everybody goes outside. Does Canterbury allow smoking in the BP?
I think they do. Well, you say there's an ordinance in Caneyville?
It covers their city buildings.
Covers what?
Their city buildings.
Clarkson or Caneyville?
Caneyville.
Oh, okay.
Public buildings.
Yeah, public buildings. I would just say too, it's my opinion, if we had a countywide ordinance about smoking, that would also take the burden off the business owners, because if there's an ordinance, they're gonna say, well, I'll go somewhere else. If we had a countywide ordinance, it would take the burden off the business owners to have to, and say, well, they can put it on TV, they can put it on hospital or put it on court. There's a countywide ordinance that would take the burden off of them whether they wanna do it or not.
I think farmers, that's kind of the way they felt about it.
All right, any questions? Let them get with their constituents and do a little studying, and we'll address it here probably next month meeting.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
All right, one thing that I missed here was I need to approve the Lincoln Trail interlocal agreement. What that is agreement we have with all the Lincoln Trail counties, which is Breckenridge, Meade, Wilson, Washington, Hardin, LaRue. We got an interlocal agreement with them. I just need a motion to have that approved. Motion by Tommy, second by Darren, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Did y'all come up with anything?
Yeah, the international here, Danny Eckwood, he's at 118.4. And invoice at 131, 375. And we talked, and we use some men here in the county to haul rocks sometimes, and they run that Kenworth, and no complaints. And we feel like in the long run, it may be the best truck for us.
Good.
and some of our men have worked for people at Hall Rock and has run that 880 Kenworth.
Are they all, they're about the same on paper though, same equipment and all that type of stuff, other than different models, different makes?
Different makes, you know. And in 8 years, we feel like maybe that Kenworth is gonna be worth more on the resale.
It's expensive as they are, might need to smoke middle ones instead of them trucks.
Does any of you all have anything else you want to add? Anything? Nothing? All right, any questions?
Whatever the boys want that, and if we can swing it, that's the main.
We can swing it.
No,
Actually, probably a little cheaper on us after we figure up all the maintenance costs.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, if you all heard Jeff and Kenny and Steve's recommendations on the Kenworth, I entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we purchase the Kenworth.
Motion by Darren to purchase the Kenworth.
I'll second.
Second by Neil. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you, John. Next, we have, for the financing, I need to approve the financing for the 2 dump trucks. We've looked at 2 different spots through, it always fluctuates. On the backhoe, we went through Magnolia Bank, but we have to do a lease, we have to purchase through the county. On 7-year term through KCO is 4.15%. On a 5-year term is 4.05%. It's a percent difference. That's through KCO. 5 years through Magnolia is 4.45 at 5 years. 7 years is 4.8. So it would be my recommendation to the court to do the 7-year 4.15 with a yearly payment of $41,000 a year for both trucks, not one, both. And then after the 7 years is up, on the 8th year, we probably rotate these trucks out. And we won't be in the shape that we're in now. So I entertain a motion to go with KCO.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Brian, second by Dana. All in favor? Aye. And that is for the 7 years, 4.15%. Magnum. All right. Next on the agenda, we've got the needle exchange program discussion. Isaac, do you want to say something?
Good evening, gentlemen. Dr. Miller, Isaac Miller, work at Twin Lakes Regional Medical Center, member of the Board of Health. We've all talked, probably more than I care to, about this subject, personally and privately and publicly. Y'all talking about dump trucks made me think, me hearing y'all talk about that, probably like me, Dr. Green and Bryce talked about ACE inhibitors and calcium channel blockers, which one you should start if they have blood pressure issues, so.
We don't know nothing about that either.
Right. So, I appreciate the opportunity, and I want to just take a few minutes before I get into the needle exchange to thank you gentlemen for the seriousness that you all have done this, gone about this process. I think it's been a little unfair how it's been characterized, you all being indecisive about this. From my point of view, talking to you, you're just trying to do what's right. And I appreciate that. I've told you all that privately, a lot of you, and I want to make sure on the record that I told you all that here in this forum. So thank you all. I commend you for your thoughtfulness and your sincerity in approaching this topic, because it is a tough topic. There's no doubt about that. Also to the law enforcement, I know Sheriff Chapins and I have had some conversations at ball games. He's probably just wanting to watch the game, but Dr. Miller keeps on talking to him in his ear about this needle exchange, and we've had good conversations. I've got a better outlook on their side, and I appreciate him listening to me and taking my time. I know Jailer Woosley, I've not spoken to him personally, but I know he spent time with some of the health departments and did his own research. Y'all came out to the forum and those types of things, which I appreciate. Chief of Police in Clarkson, Buck Meredith is back there. He was at the forum. Chief of Police Litchfield, Brian Langdon has been at these forums. A lot of their employees, deputies, officers have been active in this. You all heard us out. I appreciate that. I've learned a lot from you all, from your perspective, and then also to Judge Henderson. I spent a lot of time talking to him, using him as a resource for understanding the law enforcement side, drawing on his experience as a state police and drug task force person, and also as a member of our Litchfield Police Department as well. So thank you all very much. If you all go about all your decisions with the same sincerity and thoughtfulness, then this county is in good hands, however this vote goes tonight. So with that being said, I'm not here to sugarcoat the topic at hand. After the last fiscal court meeting, I felt there was a lot of debate whether or not what this program actually does. And it made me look into the research a little bit more. And I kind of went through a lot of individual studies, and I'm going to share with you a few things that I found out on my own time, and then give you all the chance to make a decision for our community here tonight. Who supports this program? The medical field as a whole supports this program. On the international level, the World Health Organization, who has taken studies from all around the world, Asia, Europe, Africa, Australia, United States, and they came away supporting this program. On the national level, Center of Disease Control, Institute of Medicine, the Federal Department of Health and Human Services, the National Institute of Drug Abuse, the National Institute of Health, and then the U.S. Surgeon General, who's one of the leading political medical officers in this country, all support this program. You go to the state level. The Kentucky Department of Public Health came to our county. We didn't come asking for this. They came to our county and said, you all have a problem that you need to fix. And that's when all this started. And they even got to the point where they're developing a task force to go to all these counties that are high risk, us being one of them, Breckinridge County being one of them, Edmonson County being one of them. We're like this little island in the state trying to implement these programs in counties like ours. Then on the local level, Grayson County Board of Health unanimously voted this in. Health department officials have put in tireless work trying to implement this program and get it set up in a way that is acceptable for all of us. The Twin Lakes Medical Executive Committee, which is a body made up of who represents the doctors that work at Twin Lakes Regional Medical Center, they support this program. The Twin Lakes Medical Foundation, which is the body that kind of administrates all the outpatient offices and doctors and nurses and staff and physicians, nurse practitioners, they support this program. CEO of Twin Lakes Regional Medical Center, Wayne Merriweather, came here and spoke to you all last month supporting this program. So from the international level of the World Health Organization all the way down to the local level, all these people support this program. Then you have personally physicians that have come forward, myself, Dr. Bryce Meredith, Dr. Ken Green, Dr. Joe Lee, Dr. Gay Fulkerson. And the one thing I noticed about all 5 of those people is we're all from Grayson County. So this isn't some doctor from Louisville or some doctor from Lexington telling us. These are all hometown people that have been a part of this community from the beginning. We all support this program. Politically, on the national level, the U.S. federal government supports this program. They even give funding to try and help implement it. So they support it because because they're putting their money where their mouth is. It's bipartisan. Former Democratic President Barack Obama supported this program during his administration. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, our very own senator for Kentucky, supported this program, who's a Republican. On the state level, Steve Meredith, state senator and Republican, came before this court and supported this program. Then locally, the Litchfield City Council unanimously supported this program. So on the political stage, from the national to local level, there's a lot of people that are behind this. And then also law enforcement. The U.S. Department of Justice supports this program. I said, well, does the U.S. Department of Justice, what is their actual role in the government? So I went on their website and read their mission statement, and it says, our mission statement is to enforce the law in the interests of the United States according to the law, to ensure public safety against threat foreign and domestic, and also to provide federal leadership in preventing and controlling crime. So their job is to give us advice, and they support this program. On the local level, this past week, many of you all met with local officers from Grayson County who have had this program in place for the last 2 years. They asked to do this. We didn't ask them. They took a day out of their time driving to come speak to us because they know that this program is something that worked in their county, and they felt strongly enough that they thought it would work in our county. And they were impressive individuals, getting to speak to them. And so from the federal to the local level, law enforcement is behind this. So in summary, that's a lot of people. You've got international support, you have federal support, you have bipartisan, state level, local level, you have health officials, you have politicians, you have physicians, you have law enforcement, you have government departments. All these people support this program. So why is that? Because it works. I said I went in and looked at these studies. From 1991 to 2003, there were 17 case reviews that went about. The case review is where they look at all the information on a topic everywhere, and then they make a decision on what that says. Of those 17 case reviews over the course of 12 years, all of them came to the same conclusion. And that is that needle exchange programs reduce the spread of HIV and hepatitis C without increasing drug abuse. It didn't say it went down. It didn't say it went up. It said it was the same. So, as you all are about to decide on this topic, I ask you, all these people support this for a reason. We've come before you tonight asking you to help this community that's sick, because we feel like this program is a good way to start. Some of my conversations that I've had with Norman, there's other things to do, and I've mentioned those with him. I think that there's some things that we could talk about, and me and Kevin have talked about that too. But time is of the essence on this decision. It's not an easy decision. I'm not a big political person, and the fact that I'm up here talking to you guys is not in my comfort zone when it comes to politics. The only sign I've ever put up in my yard for a politician is the one standing in front of me because he's my next door neighbor. But I put that aside because I know that this is important for the community that I live in, that I chose to come back to. For my kids and your kids, for your families, my families. I thank you all for your time and your consideration. And I'm here if you ever need anything. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Dave. Anyone else? All right, I've got a couple things I want to say. As this was brought before the court last meeting, we knew it was going to be a tough topic that we would have to address. And I sort of made a joke that I told these guys, and I have told them this, that it wasn't about all road tiles and roads. And majority of the county don't actually realize that. They think a magistrate's duty is just to actually take care of road tiles and roads. If you don't believe me, go out and do a poll yourself and ask. That's what you'll find. They make a lot of tough decisions, the magistrates do. I mean, they're sitting, they're the ones on the court, and the reason that it's done that way is so one person won't make all the decisions. However, with that being said, whenever this was brought up at the last meeting, knew it was going to be a tough decision, and I still say that this is new to me just as well as it is new to them, because there's something that comes up new every day that I didn't realize that the judge executive actually had anything to do with. And but one thing that I was really upset over at the last meeting was we didn't have a second to a motion that was brought up. And I'm going to take now full responsibility for that. These magistrates are new. It's my job to try to lead them in the direction that we need to go and go by parliamentary procedure. And we try to do that. And a lot of times, a lot of you all sit on boards, and I know sometimes you've probably been on some that dies for the lack of a second. However, public opinion, and I get along with the news media very well. I've always had an open door policy to them whenever I was in the state police, and especially as the chief of police. But I was very disappointed in some of the things that I've seen and read on social media. Of course, you can't really knock the glass screen quarterbacks behind the telephones and behind the computers. But one thing in particular, and I'm not going to call anybody out in particular because I like Rebecca and Matt and Ken, we all get along really well. But one thing in particular that drew my attention was that magistrates were cowards. It's in bold print. I've got a picture of it. And I can assure you, I know all these men up here. I've known Norman Chaffins my whole life. I've known Jason 25 years, 30 years. I've known Robbie, we've worked together for 30 years. I've known Darren for 40 years. I've known Tommy for 30 years. I've known Damon for 20 years, Brian for 30, and Neil probably my whole life. I've known Jeremy ever since he started to work here at the Commonwealth Attorney's Office. I've known Charlotte and Angel. I can assure you, no one sitting behind any of these desks are cowards. They actually, they're outstanding individuals in my book. For one, they put their name on a ballot. And that there in itself takes a lot of guts. So, I just wanted to say that, I understand that everybody wanted to vote. And like I said, I'm going to sit back and take full responsibility for that motion dying for the lack of a second. If you know anything about parliamentary procedure, whenever Darren brought up the motion, we couldn't vote on anything else except that actual motion. You can't vote on it. If you're not going to vote yes, my take is, why would you make a second? If you're going to vote no, why would you make a second? That was my take on it. Okay, once that died, I should have then, as a judge, I believe I should have said, guys, let's just make a motion in a second to vote it up or down, one of the two. So I didn't want to do anything hasty or have a special called meeting, so that's why we went ahead and waited until tonight to bring this up again. I talked with Mindy earlier today. Me and Mindy's known each other for a long time. Her dad, Terry, we've known each other our whole lives. Mindy's she's done an outstanding job at what she does. I don't think there's anybody else that can do a better job than what she's done. She wanted to try to go ahead and have some meetings with the public and with trying to educate the public on this program, harm reduction program, needle exchange program. And I told her they'd be fine. And I even talked to some of the magistrates, and they even offered to host it at their house or wherever they need to try to educate the public in it. Because in some of our conversations that we've had, she has stated, well, if we could get this one or that one. And I've told her from the get-go, I've tried to be as neutral as I possibly can, because I didn't want to influence the magistrates in any way. I wanted them to make a decision. And it's not a one-man show running government. It needs to be a group of people. That's why we're at the fiscal court. And, I told her, I said, Mindy, you're going to have to change public perception to get this to pass. And everyone sitting on that side of the room, I know every one of you, and I respect you more than you'll ever know. And known some of you quite some time, and some of you not as long as others, but I can tell you, if you told me something, I'd believe it. However, when you're in a position like we are in, we are elected by the people of Grayson County. And I feel like we need to listen to the people of Grayson County. I wouldn't care if Donald Trump came in here or Barack Obama came in here. I don't care who comes in here and tells me something. That might be fine for Washington, D.C., but it might not be what Grayson County wants. So, with that being said, I'm going to open the floor to the magistrates if you all got anything. I know a lot of them's had a lot of stuff thrown at them, and I want to commend them. I have never been around a bunch, I'm telling you from the heart, I've never been around a bunch that has done their legwork and has asked questions. I've got a phone call at least every day from all of them about this topic. They've gone to different places, they've gone to different counties, they have done their legwork, they used their own money to do it, to go to different counties, to check and ask people. They've also went out and asked their constituents out in the public. They went to stores. I've seen them out. I've talked to people that's been out. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and that's what the people that elected them to do, is to make decisions for them and what they want. So with that being said, Robbie, you got anything?
No, I don't have any questions.
Darren?
I made the motion last meeting, and because I'm for the program, I'm still for the program. The problem is, I've had 58 people in my district recently tell me that they work, supported me getting elected, they're not for it. The problem here is, I feel like we still need to get the public educated on it, where they will support us. And they was respectful about it. They said, we elected you, we put you in office, and we want you to be a voice for us. And that's what I have to do tonight. The first speech I made when I run for magistrate was at Carson School. And I was asked the question, will you be a voice for the 2nd District, or will you be a voice of, they used it as an example of the judge executive, and I said, I will be a voice of the 2nd District. And that's what I'll be tonight.
I kind of got the same thing. I did the same thing. I went out 3 days this week, had lunch at one spot, spent almost 2 hours, had breakfast at one spot in my district, spent almost the same amount of time, and I didn't have as many people as he did, but out of 37 people, I had one person that said yes. I had 2 people that didn't have a clue what I was even talking about. I had a couple people that you know, we're just not set either way. And kind of what Judge Henderson said here, and I know Mindy has asked me to have some form or whatever. You know, regardless of how this goes tonight, I recommend that because this county is not educated. I don't know on this. I don't know how to educate them. I'm not an educator. I'll be the first to admit I'm not an educator, but this county, in order for it to be countywide, this county has to be educated like you guys have us. In my place of business, I got a big building here in Litchfield. I got one out of town. Anytime more than welcome to have as many, have one a week. I don't know the answer to educate them, but they have to be educated. And that's the problem. I ain't gonna say it's a problem, but that's where the issue is with the county. They don't know. They don't have a clue. But in order for those people out in the district, in my district, they're gonna have to be educated. I don't know how to get them educated, but I'm open.
Mr. Damon Hornby.
Enough been said. Go.
Brian.
I'm the same way, I've been out, same way.
Neil.
Nothing said to me too.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, we put this back on here because I had said before that I knew there were some people upset because it wasn't actually a vote. And I'll be honest with you, you know, there was even someone that's in county or city government now that made a comment that there should have been a vote. Nothing should ever die for the lack of a second. But Ken, Matt, Rebecca, tell me if I'm wrong. Didn't the city council have that just happen Monday night? And no one was calling them cowards. So I respect each and every one that's been a presenter. And Dr. Lee, I mean, how can you not respect Dr. Lee? How can you not respect everything that you all do? But I wanted to voice my opinion about that. I think most of you all sitting over there know that I, for one, am not a coward. I will voice my opinion, election or no election. So, with that being in mind, I entertain a motion to vote on the needle exchange program. And like I said, I want to be perfectly clear. I take full responsibility in the vote not happening at the last meeting. Because I should have led the magistrates after the motion died for the lack of a second. I should have done exactly what I'm getting ready to do right now. It's a learning process. It is, it's a learning process. And I respect these gentlemen. And so I entertain a motion that we go ahead and vote on the needle exchange program. And I'm going to make the motion.
I second.
Tommy seconds. All in favor of the needle exchange program, I'm going to do a roll call vote. Robbie?
No.
Darren?
No.
Tommy?
Nope.
Damon?
No.
Brian? Neil?
No.
Needle exchange program fails. 6-0. All right. Brian, I apologize, but I haven't, we're a special call meeting, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak because I know you was here last time. So if you want to, or if you want to address us after the meeting, that's fine because we're getting ready to adjourn, but I'm going to give you the opportunity since you're here.
I'd like to say something. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
All these people over here, Mindy, I've known of Mindy, Mr. Miller, Mr. Green, this crazy guy sitting over here on far left, got up, talks long. These are awesome people. Actually, I'm on the health board, and I'm going to tell you, I've told my wife, my family, everybody I've talked to, it's awesome with the knowledge that you guys have, and I respect you a lot.
And I want to say something also, and I've done told Mindy this on the phone. I think she needs to educate the community, and she said something about doing these forums and stuff around. And, you know, we don't care to host them, you know, host one here and this and that. Because I told her it doesn't matter, you know, I could say, yes, I think that's the greatest thing ever, just because I say it and the public disagrees with me. I mean, they publicly attack me. Look, I got into this. I'm the one that ran for judge executive. I can take the hits on the chin, but I can also have an opinion too. So I think that she needs to continue to try to educate the public. And you never know what's going to happen. I mean, you know, Dr. Green has said, Dr. Lee has said, there could be some issues come up that where we have to do something, take emergency action. You know, Bryce has even said that before. He's when me and him spoke. So, but I think it's where we need to start doing that and go at it in a different direction that way. Because whenever you say it, it's just like even the smoking thing. You know, we went over that. I was down there as the chief of police whenever that came up. They would say, well, they ain't gonna tell me where I can and can't smoke. You know, and as soon as you bring this up, well, what are they doing giving needles to, you know, junkies for? Well, there's a little bit more to it than that, because I was the guy, and me and Mindy talked about this. I was the guy that said, what in the world are you all thinking? And until I learned a little bit more about the program. And I was like, well, you know, that might not be a bad idea. But I just don't think it's the public's been educated enough on this topic for them to persuade the magistrates that put them in, you know, the people that put them in office. I think we just need to educate the public a little bit more. So, that being said, thank you all, I appreciate it. And Brian, if you don't care, go ahead.
As y'all know, I live on Langland Road. And in the last few years, there was a lot of Amish moved in and Sawmill moved in. I've talked to my sheriff, I've talked to Kevin. I've talked to the highway department several times about the mud being trucked on the road, the horse manure on the road. The highway department told me, well, when somebody has an accident, then they can come get this information and people call in and use it in court. Well, I just don't understand why we gotta wait till somebody gets hurt. Yeah, I like a clean vehicle. I don't like traveling on a road that's dirty and muddy. Nobody takes no precaution to keeping the roads clear. And then on top of that, I sit at home at 6 o'clock in the morning when the sawmill starts up. When my door's closed and the TV on, that's all I can hear. So I'm looking for a noise ordinance too, or something to control the noise. Because I bought the farm in 1984. They've just moved in the last few years. Why should I be penalized for where I live? And we've talked about manure on the road, and we've talked about mud on the road. And I just ask you all to come down at certain times. And it ain't bad every day, but there is mud on the road every day. But you just come down and see what it looks like.
Brian, I came down the next day, you was here, and that day it was clean.
Yeah. It's clean right now, but it's rained 2 inches.
I know, yeah, that's what I say, but I can't, you know, I drove down there just to be safe, you know.
I guarantee you come down, well, tomorrow it might be froze, but, I mean, they haul manure out on our county road.
But I just want to let you know that I did come by.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and Brian, I've done a little checking, and I've gave Jeremy all the details of it. Of course, it takes a little while. We just went through a transition to the county attorney, so I just want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I've thrown, I don't know, what, 30 things at you, Jeremy, I guess?
You've been busy.
So I gave him the details of, told him. I've also called Jeff and told Jeff, and me and Norman talked, because he sent me the pictures that day, and told him, I said, why don't you start cleaning the tires off before you pull out on the road instead of cleaning the road off? And I don't know if they're going to try that or not. He's got with the EPA guy, but we're trying to find a resolve to it. With the horse manure, what I have found, but I'm not an attorney either. I want Jeremy to look into it a little bit more. I think it's already been challenged in the Court of Appeals in the Amish 1, where they don't have to do that. Now, Jeremy, you'll have to research it. I can't quote you the law. But I think it's already been challenged in the Court of Appeals, and I think they won where they do not have to put catch bags on. So, with that being said, we just have to we have to cross that bridge when we get there. But we are aware of the situation, because every time that Norman, you call Norman, he's called me. He's called Jeff, I've called Jeff, I've told Jeremy, Neil knows about it, so.
If anybody needs pictures, I've got plenty of them.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do something.
I
So,
appreciate it. I know you're all busy. And as far as the needle exchange, I sat here and was a believer in it after they presented it the other night. But after Norman presented it, I was for Norman. But you're all right. The county does not know, because everybody you talk to at the county, they don't understand it.
yeah.
But the county don't understand how bad a drug problem there is in Grayson County.
Exactly.
That's where the people are lacking information.
Well, Brian, you know as well as I do, until they travel the road, they don't really care how bad the road problem is.
Until they're in it themselves.
Yeah, until it happens to them, so.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you, Brian. Anybody else got anything?
I've got a question to ask the county attorney.
Yeah.
Is the Amish designated as citizens
Citizens of,
of the United States? Are they true citizens?
They pay property taxes.
Yeah, they pay property taxes.
Are they all
in Canada.
equivalent to
You
each
say to
other?
that, don't you, Norman?
I do not know the differences between,
I didn't either, that's why I asked.
I don't.
Anything else?
Oh, thanks.
All right, anybody got anything, guys? Jason?
Yeah, I'll just give a quick update on the addition on the jail. We are back on track. We're still negotiating on a few things, but I'll give you further updates as we go. We don't really have anything to hand out or vote on or nothing like that tonight, but we are back on, and as soon as I can get a schedule out, I'll get it out to you.
Good.
I got something to say. How about the needle exchange? I had a nurse practitioner call me from Bowling Green and asked me, she didn't have any idea what this is about. And I even had a nurse from Hardin County call me, and she didn't know what. So, you know, it's not just Grayson County that's not educated. It's our whole state. You know, so, I mean, somebody needs to be doing something. So, I mean, I had two people from two different counties didn't know what we were even talking about. You know, they heard about it, and they wanted to know something about it, so I was explaining to them. And they was going to research it. So, like I said, it's not just Grayson County.
The only thing I would just add to that, just once an outbreak happens, these programs don't work as well. And so if in the next year, there's an outbreak, before we educate the community, it may be too late. And that's one of the things I've tried to express to you all, is that these programs aren't as effective in the middle of an outbreak. And so if we wait until there's an outbreak, the cat's out of the bag. And that's partly why we pushed you all a little hard.
Right.
Because there is a time factor. We can't just say, well, we'll get to it in 2 years or 3 years. And I understand what you all voiced to us as far as getting out to the community. I get that.
Yeah.
But that's our other side. And I know you guys know this because we've talked about it. And I appreciate you all.
I appreciate you
I really do.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot. We appreciate what you all are doing. And I appreciate you all took the time on this too, to collectively research this yourselves. And you all, nobody can fault you on the time you've spent on this, researching it. Everybody here has done that. And we talk about this a lot. We really appreciate this. And what Isaac said though, we do continue to worry about it. It's tough educating people on disease prevention because we do this every day. It's just like we didn't understand the truck bids. We were talking about that. I think we all have our own gifts. We had no clue about that. So having to educate us on that is something different. Same as us trying to educate people on disease prevention. But we will take your all's feedback on that, and hopefully we can continue to educate people. My office door is always open.
We don't need to stop tonight.
Yeah, I tell people they can always come by my office. I'm happy to talk to them about this, about Hep C, HIV, Hep A. It's interesting though, the day after we had the previous meeting, there was actually a new journal article, and it's called the American Family Physician Journal, and it's the big journal for the American Academy of Family Physicians, and they came out in that journal and said they were for this. And they actually went into some things that I didn't even think about on other types of disease prevention, like tuberculosis, MRSA, pulmonary infection. So there's a whole other topic that I didn't even think about, because we think about HIV, Hep C, and Hep A. But again, we will continue to educate, and but we appreciate your all's time, and we appreciate what you all doing in the community, because this is not a. I know pretty well from Dad being in public office, it's not an easy thing to run for public office and be in the spotlight. So I commend you all for that. So keep doing what you're doing. So.
Yeah, Phil.
Can I just make a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, we'll continue to take care of our community. We feel like the hepatitis C problem is so severe, we're going to start a Hep C clinic. Hepatitis C is curable at a cost of $80,000 to $90,000 per person. And often those times those people are drug users, as you know. They're low income because they can't hold jobs. So that means they may very well be on Medicaid, and that means we're all paying for that. But that's our purpose here as a hospital, to take care of our citizens, and we'll do that.
Thank you, Wayne.
And one comment, I'd just like to reiterate and tag on Dr. Bryce Meredith's comments about the involvement each of you all have begun to study and to research this, and that's showing at the meetings that we have had as a forum, the fire station meeting last week on Friday, and then a couple of days ago, those law enforcement that came to the, talks that, we engaged with Grayson County. I just think that all of that is an indication, and, there'll be word of mouth, transition of all these topics, and that's how we'll educate the county. We'll eventually get them involved and get them understanding what issues are at hand for all of us.
Yeah. And we'll continue screening and treating, and so.
Thank you, Dr. Green.
Yes, Phil.
I didn't know till a couple hours ago it was going to come to the meeting, and I'm really glad it did. It's been very informative. As I listened to all of you, and you did vote, the needle exchange down. The county's never going to be totally educated. If you will reach out to the people, you put it in word. I know, Norman, you were in opposition to it, and I don't know all the reasons why. I'm not on that, but let your people know either through the newspaper or a letter to the editor that it obviously is discussed and talked about, and at some point, again, you all are educated, more educated than you were, a month or two ago, and at some point, you'll have to make the decision for the county. It's early in the election, maybe people will forget within a couple years from now when things, either you didn't have an outbreak or you had it under control. So, I'm really glad I came tonight. I really learned a lot and really want to plan on, being involved a little bit more. And I'm just one of the public that has an interest in the county. So, appreciate you giving me, a couple minutes.
Thank you, Phil. All right, need a motion to adjourn?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I would just like to say, as a voice for the road department, we thank the fiscal court for supporting us and helping us with these trucks and so forth.
Well, we thank you all because you can make us look good or you can make us look bad. And you make us look good, so thank you. Brian might not agree. Need a motion to adjourn. Motion by Brian, second by Neil, all in favor.